Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. So, we're talking about home sales in Columbus. We talked about it for, I don't know, years at this point, how hot the Columbus housing market is. Houses don't stay on the market that long. A July report shows closed sales up 6.3% year over year. Median home prices have crossed that $350,000 mark, and the highest July inventory in more than a decade. So there's a lot of things at play right now when it comes to buying a house.
Absolutely. And joining us right now, we have Gloria Alonso-Cannon with Columbus Realtors, the 2026 president. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture from this new study that came out. Why does the July housing report tell you about the state of Central Ohio's housing market right now?
So July is usually a strong market for us, and it's an indicator because we are wrapping up people buying homes and people that have put their homes on the market for school year start. So July usually gives us a really good measure on that statistic.
So for someone looking to buy a home, does that mean buyers finally have more negotiating power?
Absolutely. Buyers have a lot more homes to choose from with our inventory being higher. And sellers need to take a little bit better care when they're putting their homes on the market. We are still in a seller's market, but the buyers definitely have more to choose from. They can take their time a little bit more. We're not seeing that frenzy that we were at. So this is really a healthy market for everybody involved.
And I mean, as recently as last year, we were still in a time where buyers were willing to forego inspections. They were doing all sorts of things that traditionally you wouldn't pass on just to get a house. I've heard that's no longer really the case. I mean, it's slowed down enough that buyers can be a little more cautious with how they proceed.
To be fair, I don't think that was a stable level market for anybody. So I'm glad to hear that we are where we are now. Buyers hopefully weren't all waiving inspections. That's not something we ever want to hear, because we want them to have the opportunity to do their due diligence. So there are homes that come on the market that are still very hot, very competitive, and in those we may need to see some creative negotiating. Overall, buyers do get to take their time. They aren't having to do appraisal gaps. They're not having to waive inspection. And that's really a balanced market for everybody, and it's healthier for our buyers.
Mm-hmm. So in Central Ohio, the median price climbed to $350,000. So seeing that number, why is the increased inventory bringing prices down or not?
We're not seeing prices coming down because our market is still stable.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many different types of industry that drive our market, and we still continue to see an influx. You have to also remember we were in such a housing deficit that we still haven't come out of that. So until we do, we don't anticipate anything with our, with prices seeing a downward trend. Sellers do have to meet with their realtor though and really come up with a competitive price. Where in years past, quite honestly, you could throw a price on a house and because there wasn't much on the market, things would just fly. You really need some professional help to get your pricing exactly right. What we are seeing is that you do overprice your home, it will sit on the market.
Yeah. And I mean, mortgage rates ticked down a little at the beginning of the month, but not a lot. They are still, I mean, the years of 2020, 2021, those rates, historically low, they don't exist anymore, nor will they likely ever. But do you still run into some buyers still being pretty cautious about that rate and are still just kind of waiting to see if it'll come back into the fives?
No. I think they have learned that the waiting game is not on their side right now. So the days of having 2% interest rate is probably, in my lifetime, not going to happen again. I'm not a financial analyst, so I can't say that, but I think that was a flash in the pan, right?
Yeah.
We can hope.
We can hope. We don't anticipate those going back down. I think our buyers are very educated. They've done their research and they understand that those days are gone. And when they need to buy, they need to buy. So they just need to make sure it works within their budget.
And we saw a lot of closures jumping in areas like Big Walnut, Gahanna. I mean, really booming areas. What do you think this demand for living in those areas is coming from? Why do people want to move there and buy homes?
There's a lot of great things. So we have Big Walnut, Gahanna, and Upper Arlington, which all put up great numbers for closings. I think there's a drive. All of them have different things that they offer to a buyer, right? When you're going to Big Walnut, you probably have bigger lots and you have, you're out a little bit away from everything. Gahanna, the location is fantastic. You're closer to the airport. You're closer to that side of town. Very central to any freeway access that you need. And then UA is just a perennial favorite, right? They've got strong schools that people love. People love the older homes that you can get there. It's just a whole vibe. And that's attractive to buyers as well. So all of them have their own uniqueness that draws buyers to their locations.
And when we talk about, the median price right now, we're talking $350,000. Affordability becomes a major consideration right now in this market. And especially when we talk about first-time home buyers. And that can be anybody from their 20s all the way into their 50s and 60s. Is there still a market for first-time home buyers to get in at that price? Are wages keeping up?
There is still a market for first-time home buyers, and we're working with first-time home buyers all the time. They do have to adjust their expectations a little bit. But overall, compared to the national median, we're still $80,000 below what the national median is here in Central Ohio. So affordability-wise, when you use that for perspective, we're still doing pretty well. We just have to make sure that buyers are tempering some of their expectations and that they realize that buying their real estate, their first home, is an investment. We've had buyers for a while that just want to go straight to that dream home. And when we can work with them and explain baby stepping their way in and setting expectations, we can find them something that they're going to love and they're going to be happy with.
So when we talk about the hotspots like Big Walnut, UA, Gahanna, where are some of the areas where you are helping first-time home buyers, buy those affordable homes? And when I say affordable, I know that number's
right.
Subjective.
It's relative.
Yeah,
correct,
it's relative.
Correct. So we can find homes for a first-time home buyer in any part of town. So we sit down and talk to them, and it's going to be dependent on where they work, where they hang out, what do they do in the evenings, where are their friends located. And then we will look for those pockets of homes that are more in line with what their payment preferences are. You can find them all over town. It just is, again, it's a matter of you can get a little bit more house in one area than another. So it's going to be dependent on the location, right? What kind of home they end up with.
Yeah.
All right. So looking ahead to the fall, what should we expect with the market?
We anticipate that the market is going to continue. We are not in a bubble. We continue to have a healthy market here in Central Ohio. So we think it's going to continue in the way that it's been going.
Okay. So Central Ohio, we're in a good position.
We are in a
some
great
other
position.
states.
Oh my gosh, yes. Many other states they are in a down market. They're in buyer's markets. They have properties that are in distress, and we are not there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.